Hey guys, Granditamias here, and I am back once again with another update video. Sorry for holding off this one for so long. There were just so many topics that I wanted to make videos on, and still a couple that I want to do. But with all the talk in the chipmunk fandom for the last few months now that the CGI series may have ended, I do want to let you all know about a few things regarding the future of Alvin and the Chipmunks Elaborations, and my chipmunk content in general. Also, this update video will be more organized than previous ones, so if there's a topic that you'd rather skip or skip ahead to, timecodes will be in the description. First, we still don't know for sure if the 2015 Alvin and the Chipmunks series has ended, and given that long hiatuses are nothing new for it, we could have to wait several more months before we get any more hints. I guess I might as well go on a tangent here. If it has ended, though, I am going to be honest, it would be sad if things ended the way they have, but at the same time, I feel like 2 more seasons would have just been more waiting for the series to be over because of what the franchise could do with a reboot. I covered a lot of that in a previous elaboration, and even if Season 6 and 7 will be, or would have been, better than Season 5, I feel like a lot of what the series has, and the limitations of what it can do, isn't going to appeal much to the changing tastes of audiences in the 2020s. There's still so much more to this and stuff adjacent to this that I want to cover in future videos. Speaking of which, do not worry, the end of the series, hypothetically, does not mean the end of Alvin and the Chipmunks Elaborations. Even though a lot of my videos talk about stuff that could have yet to be or where I would want the franchise to go, there's still a lot of stuff from prior decades that could hold me over until the next reboot, if I'm still doing YouTube by then. I know I said I was going to do an iceberg video, but like I said at the end of my 2007 movie retrospective, I decided to cancel that. But I still might bring the idea back as a fact list series. In fact, no pun intended, I've been sitting on a script for a while with enough facts for a part 1. I just need to find pictures, and I've been struggling to decide if I should include background music and what kind. Most of my videos haven't needed it, but it'd be kind of boring if I just listed off facts with no energy to it. Whenever I've scrolled through YouTube's free audio library, I've never found anything that I like and think would fit for a fact list, but if you have any suggestions, let me know, and I might start putting music in the main videos as well. While I'm still on the subject of things that I promised but haven't made videos on yet, I did say in my previous update that I had considered a video on the chipmunks' teeth, as weird as that is. I do have some scientific points I can make, and it would have been a great way to harken back to some of my older videos, like my very first episode of Alvin and the Chipmunks Elaborations, and potentially do more videos about speculative chipmunk biology, but I realized it would have been too headcanon-y, if that makes sense. I know I already gave him a headcanon scientific name, but that one I kind of had to explain because it's my username. There was some interest in a chipmunk teeth video, but I'm also worried that the subject matter would scare some of my audience members. Maybe I'll revisit topics like these one day. Okay, that's all the chipmunk stuff I want to cover. Next, you may have noticed that I made some Transformers videos in anticipation for the new movie, and I'm really proud of them, especially the Transformers Prime Dreadwing video. I had a lot of fun making that, and it makes me want to do a retrospective of the whole series, since the 10th anniversary of when it ended is later this year. Plus, potentially more topics centered on that series, and depending on how Rise of the Beast turns out, I could have more videos on that and the future of the movies as well. But expect to see a preconception/first thoughts video and a full spoiler review once it comes out, much like I did for Sonic 2 and Jurassic World 3. Speaking of Sonic, I know it's been a while since I've done a video about either the movies or the games. As far as the movies go, I have been tossing between 2 video ideas. Aside from potentially those, there isn't much left that I want to talk about until we get new info for the 3rd movie. I also realized that this year, in June, is the 30th anniversary of Jurassic Park, and one of my moderators on my Discord server asked me if I'm going to do a retrospective video on it, to celebrate that milestone. I thought about it, but considering most of my videos on Jurassic World Dominion didn't do so well, I'd rather not put in that effort. Besides, June is going to be a pretty stacked month for this channel as it is. I'll have the Transformers Rise of the Beast videos I mentioned, and 1 or 2 chipmunk collaborations. Another miscellaneous thing I want to mention, not sure if I'm ever going to make a video on this. If you followed me on Twitter or Discord, you'll know that I actually participated in backing an upcoming independently made prehistoric nature documentary called Forgotten Bloodlines Agate, and I'm going to get my name in the credits as Granditamias. So yeah, I'm really excited. I love paleontology, as you know, and I wanted to support the representation of these kinds of extinct animals in the media. Again, not sure if I'm going to do a video on this, but I have been wanting to do more nature-related videos for a good amount of time now. With all that out of the way, I have a lot of comments that I want to answer or respond to. And these two will be organized into chipmunk and non-chipmunk related from now on in these update videos. I'm going to start off with this comment, which already has a problem. See if you can spot it. Nita Hassin says, "Can you upload episodes of Alvin and the Chipmunks?" I'm not even going to answer this question because 1, I think the answer is obvious. Copyright. 2, this was posted on one of my Sonic videos. In fact, I recall first seeing this comment almost immediately after I posted the video. I get it, a lot of you are only here for Alvin and the Chipmunks or aren't interested in everything that I talk about, which is fine. But posting an unrelated comment just shows that you really don't care about the effort that I put into these videos. Also, I check my comment feed on a daily or near daily basis, especially on days when I upload, so you don't have to post on my newest video just to get your comment seen. Unless you delete your comment soon after, or if it's a reply to a comment thread from years ago, chances are I will have seen it. I may not always respond because I could save them for an update video like this, like I'm doing now, or if the comment itself doesn't warrant it, but I do see them, so please, if you're going to comment about the topic franchise, or at least make it related to something I said in the video. I can give some leeway depending on how well the comment is written, and update videos can be kind of a free-for-all. But yeah, I just wanted to let you all know. Pigface5000 says, "Remember Ian Hawke from the CGI films?" Of course I do. "Do you think he will return in Season 6 of the CGI series?" Well, first, we don't actually have any concrete information just yet, even though I'm pretty certain that Season 6 is going to happen. But, no, I don't think Ian Hawke will ever return to this franchise, and it's not because I have any bias regarding the character, but he was an original creation for the films, and so a large part of the reason why he is so well remembered, for better or for worse, is because of the actor he was portrayed by, and not because of any cartoon legacy he had prior. And no, I'm not going in the direction you think. I'm not saying that this character can only be portrayed by this actor. But if they were to bring him back, I think David Cross, well, there's a chance he may not care, but I would also think that there may be a chance that he may not like that his character is living on, given that he did not enjoy the role and doesn't like being associated with it. So that's why I doubt that we'll ever see Ian again. Bringing him back would probably upset David Cross, especially if the character in animation has a very similar likeness to him. Besides, his archetype could be filled by many other characters, probably the best example being Harry, and you guys know I've been an advocate for that character's return. He has most or all of the same storytelling advantages as Ian, with the added benefit of being a chipmunk. Israel Means Prince of the Most High Creator says, "If they take out the chipmunk, I would cry. I'm a big fan of the Chipmunk S." Take out? Like what do you mean? Take out like he's gonna get sniped? Jokes aside, I do not understand the context of this comment given the video it was posted on. Joey Nicholas says, "They should make Alvin and the Chipmunks No Way Home and bring back the live-action chipmunks and CGI chipmunks." So what, we're just stealing titles from other movies now? This isn't 1990. It reminds me of this fan poster I came across for a fake Alvin and the Chipmunks 5, An Unexpected Journey. The chipmunks are turned before. What the does that mean? And like I said in one of my older videos, the title isn't a rodent pun like all 3 of the live-action sequels. So yeah, not really convincing. What's next? Alvin and the Chipmunks Dominion? Oh, that actually sounds like a really cool idea. TD64 asks, "They're buying Paramount Global?" No, Paramount Global would be buying them. You got it backwards, my dude. And no, we don't have any confirmation that the franchise is being sold yet. Spanic T Hedge says, "Wasn't Ian Hawke in the CGI show in that one cameo when Dave found Alvin in the closet tied up?" No, that was Cecil B. Cooper in the episode Blabbermouth. He was a movie director. Also from Spanic T Hedge, wait, so is the joke of the squirrel costume that Alvin and his brothers are chipmunks and there's a squirrel costume even though they're the same animal just called different names from different parts of the world? I'm not sure what joke you're talking about in regards to the Sammy Squirrel costume that Victor Frankenstein was trapped in, but you are correct that in English we have different words for squirrels and chipmunks, but in other languages they use the same word, Like, for example, in Spanish, chipmunks and squirrels are both referred to as ardillas. So, in Spanish-speaking territories, the series is called Alvin y las ardillas. So, I hope this answers your question. Not even sure if it was a question in the first place. But yeah, I don't understand the joke part, so forgive me if this doesn't answer it. Alright, this next comment comes from Cassini Huygens, great username by the way. I think the next reboot should stick to either the classic character designs or actual chipmunk designs. I don't like how the chipmunks and chipettes look in the 2015 series. I think these chipmunk-human hybrid designs would have worked better in a 2D animated series. How would you feel if the new reboot was stop motion? I'd be thrilled about it, since stop motion isn't super common. Well, yeah, I think I've said this before, how, the 2015 series designs, they aren't my favorite design, and I will agree that, yeah, at first I did think they looked too human-like, but I got used to them over time. But yeah, I definitely think that for the next reboot, they should design the chipmunks with a little more of a animalistic aesthetic. Like, not quite like the live-action films, but, like, just enough so that it gives off the cute and cuddly appearance of a chipmunk. But as for the stop motion, I think it would be really interesting to see the chipmunks in that medium, but I think the reason that it isn't super common anymore is because it's largely outdated and expensive. Like, a lot of those Ray Harryhausen movies, those got more expensive as time went on, so, like, the last Ray Harryhausen movie, I think, was Clash of the Titans in the 1980s. But yeah, assuming that they have the models and the budget and all that, I think it would be interesting to see the chipmunks in stop motion. Benjamin Monk says, in regards to my villains video, I would say multiple because there's so many. There was Talbot, Victor, Suggs, etc. Well, personally, I think that Lawrence Talbot and Victor Frankenstein only work as one-time villains, because, yeah, I don't see the chipmunks fighting them consistently, like I was saying in my video, and, well, part of the reason for that is because the original versions of Talbot and Frankenstein are public domain characters. So it'd be kind of like if the chipmunks also fought Captain Ahab from Moby Dick. If they were going to choose a villain to be a mainstay of this franchise, I think that it should be a new villain made up specifically for that purpose, or one of the other villains that is original to this franchise, like Harry or Claudia. Ruvio asks, can you talk about the theory that Miles from Road Chip is Ian's son? Wow, you guys really like Ian, don't you? But no, because there is absolutely no evidence to support that, and I have no idea why anyone would assume that, given that Ian has no relevance in Road Chip. Why would they introduce a character related to Ian and not even mention that, especially when Ian's not even relevant to the film? The Chipmunk Guy asks, do you think that Alvin and the Chipmunks is one of, if not has the most longevity outside of Disney shows, etc.? Well, I'm no cartoon historian, so I don't know about every cartoon that existed before Alvin and the Chipmunks came around in the 1950s. But as I said in a previous video, they are one of the last independently owned media franchises of their kind, and going as far back as they do, they have a pretty high longevity. Unless you're referring to the run of the cartoons themselves, which, well, the Alvin show only lasted one season, but the 80s series, that lasted 7 or 8 years, and the CGI series as well, like, assuming that we do get season 6 and 7, they will have gone on for around 10 years by that point. But now it's been probably 8 years, maybe? So, yeah, they've had a pretty long longevity as far as the series themselves are concerned. A. Mitchell says, you do have some decent points, but that doesn't explain why Dave has 3 deck chairs, and he lets the Chipettes in the house, sometimes without him knowing. He takes them on trips with the boys, and they even treat him like a father figure, as seen in the episode Father-Daughter Dance, so explain all that. Well, I think this comment already explains itself. I mean, Dave has 3 deck chairs by the pool because he cares about the Chipettes like a father figure would, and in Father-Daughter Dance, it was the Chipettes who were thinking about how they don't have a father figure and seeing Dave like that. Though Eleanor at one point does say that it's always been really hard for her not having a dad, and that Dave has kind of always been like a dad to her. And honestly, I think this one quote says a lot about the Chipettes, and brings into question, like, what happened to their biological dad? Again, chipmunks don't just spawn out of thin air, so where did the Chipettes come from? We're probably never going to get that answer because of reasons as I explained in my previous elaboration, But yeah, that has been a question on my mind and the minds of many other fans for a long time. So yeah, hopefully one day in a future reboot, we get that answered. Umarak013 says, I really liked that Megatron's first and last orders to Dreadwing were both to stand down. You know, I never actually thought about that before. In the episode Loose Cannons, when Dreadwing's at the shipyard, he receives his first order from Megatron to stand down and not attack the Autobots. And again, before he gets killed, Megatron orders him to stand down from trying to kill Starscream. So yeah, it is kind of ironic. Goofy J. Rojas says, it's a reboot, and it will always be a reboot in my opinion. Well, we recently got a planet-sized confirmation that it is, so yeah. Pegasus Pony says, I remember Lost Tapes. Great show. Remember when I said earlier that a comment should be related to the video? This is definitely an example of how to do it right. It may not be about the topic franchise, but I did briefly mention Lost Tapes as a side remark. Part of the film's conflict is that Alvin is obsessed with Halloween monsters, which, if this were the more modern Alvinverse continuity, the equivalent would probably be Alvin having an obsession with Lost Tapes. Anyone remember that show on Animal Planet? It terrified 9-year-old me. I think they even did a werewolf episode. I'm getting off track. And no, I'm not going to search up the title card or images from that show because I care about you guys and I don't want to give you all nightmares for reasons I'm about to explain. I'm going to go into a long-ish story here, so if you don't like horror or don't care, you can click off the video. I promise I won't judge. Also, spoilers for Lost Tapes. Okay, I kid you not, after making that Meet the Wolfman retrospective, I did watch the werewolf episode of Lost Tapes, and that ending, though. Like, seriously, I've only watched it one time, and that image of the girl's face instantly turning into a werewolf is burned into my mind. And it didn't even look like a werewolf. It looked more like a toothy demon face. I'm going off memory here. Like I said, I'm not going to look up any images or clips. But yeah, the way that jump scare happened, and the last shot of the werewolf's face in the camera static, it just, pardon my language, it mentally Aside from that, I've only seen a handful of episodes overall, and most of them aren't too scary, like the Mothman, Bear Lake, Thunderbird, and Monterey Bay Monster episodes, and a couple others. The only two I remember seeing as a kid were the Chupacabra and Oklahoma Octopus. The latter is pretty mild now that I look back on it, but the former I have never rewatched, and I can't remember what about that episode scared me, only that it did. Honestly, Lost Tapes could be worth its own video if I ever build up the courage to watch the whole series. But yeah, I have gone back to it every now and again and watched some of those episodes, like the ones I mentioned. And I do have a fascination with cryptids, at least the scientifically plausible ones like the Bunyip or some of the lake monsters. Not the humans that turn into cryptids like the vampires and the Wendigo, which a coworker of mine at the pizza place I work at did tell me were some of the scariest episodes of Lost Tapes, but I haven't seen those. Also, if you want to check out some cryptozoology videos, I highly recommend Trey the Explainer's Cryptid Profiles. They're very informative, and with some of his earlier videos in that series, at the end he made up a scientifically plausible organism that could have inspired that cryptid. This actually partially inspired my Alvin and the Chipmunks headcanon that I explained earlier. See, it all comes back around. Anyway, for those who are left, thank you for making it to the end. If you have any questions that you'd like me to answer in the next update video, or topics for a video that you'd like to see related to anything that I've talked about, leave them in the comments. With all that said, I hope you enjoyed, have a nice day, and thank you for your time.